Hey, welcome to the Perspective for Beginners series. My name is Tyler. Your name is Glenn.
Yo, it's GLEM.
Today we're going to look at three-point perspective. So as a recap of two-point perspective, we've got a horizon line, and on that line we've got two vanishing points. And all of our vertical lines are perfectly vertical and parallel to one another. Three-point perspective is very similar, but now we're adding a third vanishing point either above or below the horizon line. The position of the horizon line becomes more important now. As we've seen in other videos, a horizon line that is low on the page means we've got a lower vantage point, and we're looking up at more of the sky. This means our third vanishing point would be in the sky. In two-point perspective, I mentioned looking at the corner of a building and seeing down two streets. From there, tilt your view upwards to look up at the building, and all of those vertical lines will start to converge. Similar to parallel lines going into the distance along the ground plane, like our good old train tracks from one-point perspective, the same thing happens with parallel lines receding away from us vertically. In fact, if you crane your neck all the way up, it would look like one-point perspective again, with all the buildings converging towards one point in the sky. Don't worry about why that eventually becomes one-point perspective again. We'll look at why that happens in a later video. For now, just remember that if you're looking up, lines will converge towards a third vanishing point somewhere in the sky. Alternatively, a horizon line that is high on the page means we have a higher vantage point and we're looking down at more of the ground plane. In this case, our third vanishing point would be below the horizon, as if we're looking down at buildings or maybe down an elevator shaft or something. So if you're going through the whole series, you should be familiar with drawing boxes in space by now. Place your horizon either high or low on the page. In this example, I'll place it higher on the page. Then add two vanishing points somewhere on the horizon line, and a third either high or low on the page. This will be the opposite of your horizon line. So high horizon, low third vanishing point, and vice versa. Feel free to use perspective tools for this, such as my perspective brush set. You can get them for free on my Gumroad, link will be in the description, and there's a video in the series explaining how I use them. There's no newsletter sign up or anything like that, they're just free. In this example, I'm placing my horizon line and the two vanishing points thereon high enough that they're no longer on the canvas. And I'm distorting my vertical lines like this so they'll eventually meet at a vanishing point. I'm not really sure where that is exactly, but that's okay. Technically, the convergence would be affected by the lens that we're using, but for simplicity's sake, let's not worry about that right now. Once we've got our grid, start by drawing a vertical line that follows your grid, and draw lines from the top and bottom of this line back to the two vanishing points on the horizon line. Now choose a point for our box to end and draw that vertical line in. Note that this line will now start converging with our first vertical line. Bring the top and bottom of that line back to the vanishing point again. And the same thing on the other side, and we've got our box. Draw a whole bunch of these boxes until you get the hang of it. You can stop here if this is where you're comfortable, or you can stick around for something more challenging. Let's do a scene. In this example, I'm going to do some kind of industrial interior, where we're looking down at a lower level, maybe down an elevator or something. Throw in your grid, starting with the horizon line and two vanishing points thereon. Since I want to look down, my horizon line will be high. In fact, it will be off the canvas again. Next, I'll add vertical lines converging towards one another, down below the scene somewhere. I'm starting with just simple shapes, trying to get a rough idea of where main objects are. So I'll have some kind of door here, and now I'm trying to figure out how wide my room is, therefore where the floor meets the wall. I'm planning on having some catwalks or platforms or something at the edges of the shot to give us some more height, and now I'm trying to find the center of that floor, as I'll probably have some symmetrical parts to the floor. Now I'm extending the section below the catwalk a little, since the catwalk should be an overhang. I figure we need some height to take advantage of the three-point perspective, so I'm going to drop this section, like it's some kind of service elevator maybe. I have to have a railing over on this side too, of course. From there, we build out the rest of our scene, mostly getting into smaller shapes and adding detail. For some textural or detail elements like these grate type covers, you can draw them flat and then transform and distort them into position. And since we looked at rotating objects in space in a recent video, let's add a couple of boxes that are rotated off of our grid. If you're following along, it's a good idea to get some reference for whatever you're doing. If something like this is too advanced or too daunting, try something more simplistic. In past videos we did rooms in a house, and you can do that in 3-point perspective as well. Or if you don't want to take on a whole room, you can do something small like some kind of prop. I'm a fan of taking the earlier box exercises one step further. So take an object that is essentially a box already, like say a Walkman. Start with the box and then just add some of the details. This is a nice way to take the box exercise further. It's more interesting and starts introducing you to slightly more complex objects. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you had some fun. Stay tuned for the next episode in the series where we take on 5-point perspective. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be good to one another, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.
Okay, I know how to spell my own name. And it's Glenn, not Glam.
Glenn? What the hell kind of name is Glenn?